Hello, Internet. Skorkowski. Welcome to my game room on this Thursday night. Can everybody hear me all right? I'm doing a new microphone setup, so I never know if you're just looking at my lips waggling and have no idea what I'm saying, because that would be tragic. So anyway, I figured I would do a live stream this evening. I've been meaning to do one for a while, like a criminal amount of time. But you know how it goes, especially now that my wife is working at home. So trying to work around each other has become a lot more problematic. But I figured, hey, I just broke 75,000. That deserves something, right? And I just got my medal for my INI award for 2020. Since I wasn't able to go to Gen Con to pick this up personally, I got this in the mail. And that was for my work in the New Tales from the Miskatonic Valley, my debut scenario. And I've got my name right there on the cover. So a bit of a geek dream come true. So they don't have the physical versions out yet. There's some delay or something going on. This is my contributor copy, but I will definitely be sending out the announcement and everything once that's ready and available for people to purchase. If anybody's been wondering, why have you not talked about A Mother's Love or New Tales or anything, I'm really just waiting for it to be available for everyone. It's available now in PDF, but I don't want to do a whole video about like, oh my God, you guys need to pick this up, and the physical books aren't in print yet, because that would lead to a lot of disappointment. And figure we can wait. It's not like it's going anywhere, so we'll do it at that time. Let's go ahead and see about any questions here. Oh, hello, Wilderness Boy. I know who you are. And anyway, I figured, we could, this week I haven't been feeling, I guess, 100%. Just been kind of feeling a little bit just about 3 seconds behind at all times. So I haven't done a video for the week. I've written a script. I'll be doing a scenario review next. I'll probably start recording the Jack scenes for that tomorrow. I usually do Jack scenes on one day and edit all those together. And then I do the seated version of me just yammering, and then when I edit that, I just kind of drop in the pre-made Jack scenes as I go. If anybody is ever wondering how in the hell I do that, that's usually 2 days apart. That's often why Jack is sporting like a couple days worth of facial hair and I'm not, is because I have shaved in the meantime. Let's see. Oh man, one thing I hate about this live chat is once it starts going, it flies by, because I saw a question and then it was gone. See if I can scroll up. Am I ever going to review Massive Nyarlathotep from Eric Guillardo? I am, as anybody would know, I'm terrible at pronouncing anything, so I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name there. I understand how that feels. Massive Nyarlathotep, I will not review until I have run it or played it all the way through. Now, I have played the new opening chapter that comes with the 7th edition version. Scott Dorward ran a group of us through that for the How We Roll podcast group. That podcast is out, by the way. I have no idea how many episodes it is. I know it took place over like 4 or 5 very lengthy sessions, but they would split it up into more bite-sized chapters for people to listen to. But I don't want to do a review of chapter 1 and never have played the actual, original chapter 1 after that and the rest of the campaign. So I won't be reviewing that anytime until after I have at least experienced the full campaign from either side of the screen. So what's better, Christmas or Halloween? Well, I'm just going to say that Halloween has always been my favorite, especially since it doesn't come with the stress of, having to go and do all the family stuff and looking for presents and all that. So Halloween, by far, my favorite. As anybody would know, I also like dressing up. Do I play any video games from Etherwinter or Etherwinter in Trinidad? Not really. I used to play video games a lot, and then once I started writing seriously, I, um I just didn't have time for it. So I've got like a lot that I would like to do. Probably when Cyberpunk 2077 finally comes out, I will play that. Though experience has taught me I am actually going to wait a little bit till whatever opening bugs get worked out, because there's always some opening bugs on a release, and I have made that mistake of jumping on there and experiencing, I guess, the initial stuff they didn't find in beta testing. Uh, well, Richard B, thank you, $2. Scott Brown, motherfucker. Do I have any opinions on Hackmaster from Andrew Gonzalez? No, I've never played Hackmaster. A lot of the times during these chats, I get asked a lot about have I played this system or that system. The short answer is if you haven't seen a review for it, I either have not played it or I haven't played it enough to really get a good opinion of it one way or the other. So it's probably best if you haven't seen a review, the answer is probably most likely going to be no. Am I ever going to do In the Darkness again from Alex1725? I would like to. I get their notices for games periodically, and most of the time it just comes down to they're wanting me to commit to 5 or 6 sessions. I find it very difficult with my schedule to put in side games that would take that much time. I also do have a couple little side games that I'm doing, and I don't want to tell them yes and then end up being that one jerk player that all of a sudden can't fulfill that commitment. So the only reason I haven't done more of them, it comes down to my fear of being the guy that has to bail on them or something like that. So let's see. Michael Dean, do I plan on being at SoonerCon in 2021? Oh, goddamn, I hope so. I'm hoping I get the invite again. I was going to be one of their guests this year, and for obvious reasons, when SoonerCon got canceled, I wasn't able to do it. But I am hoping that we will be able to do that next year, and I do hope to be involved in it then. Michael Harris, when are we getting a Sonic video for Traveler? October sometime is when I'm planning on it. I'm doing a scenario review next, and then after that, I will be. I'm kind of tooling it together right now. It's a video over the sort of campaign that I did. I talked about in my last war story where players were able to game master parts of it, and what made that different than a lot of other campaigns where players do have the option to GM periodically. This one, actually, they were continuing on a linear plot versus you've got this main plot going on and a player does like a little side game, but it doesn't really interfere with the main plot. This was one where actually each session pushed the plot forward. Kind of a weird experimental way we did it. So I'm planning on putting together a video on how we did it, what we learned, kind of hopefully give ideas to people on how they might want to do that themselves, because a lot of it depends on what exactly the campaign and everything is going to be around it. Let's see. Doompocalypse. I've seen Lovecraft Country. If so, what are your thoughts? Yes, I think I'm current on it. Maybe not. Maybe I might have missed whatever the last episode was. I'm not sure. I've watched at least 4. I enjoy it. I don't want to give away too many spoilers. I think it's beautifully shot, beautifully acted. My biggest apprehension of it is J.J. Abrams being involved, because he might try to JJ it. But the last 2 episodes have not held me as much as the first 2 did. The first 2 I thought were wonderful. And then the two after that, it didn't really grab me as well. I still enjoyed it, but it was one of those, after coming off the first two, I felt a bit disappointed. My wife and I are kind of like, and especially when I'm pretty sure it was the fourth one, where the girl was, I think it was Metamorphosis, was that one where she was changing her form. I loved that plot line. I loved that plot line. But anytime they left it to talk about any of the other characters, it felt like filler. And it was like, no, can we go back to that? Because that's actually the part that really grabs my interest. So a lot of it started feeling like they're trying to just fill a time slot, which is unfortunate. But I am enjoying it. It's absolutely beautiful. Hopefully they'll keep it up. Blaine S., thank you for $1. I appreciate that, but I am going to try to get to a lot of questions. I don't want it to be where it's only people that throw in a donation get anything. Ian Moore, can we get a hint as what the scenario to be reviewed will be? Yes, it will be the Calixcule incident. It is a traveler scenario. And I've got some very strong opinions about that one, because it is one where I think the concept for it, like what they were going for, I thought was a lot better than their execution of how they did it. It's one that I thought was a cool idea, but don't really like the way they did it. Brian Tinney, thank you for $5. What is my favorite Robert E. Howard Cthulhu mythos story? And do any Call of Cthulhu scenarios remind you of it? I don't think I've read any of Howard's Cthulhu mythos stuff. I know my favorite Howard story is Red Nails. That's my favorite of his Conan stuff, but I don't believe I've ever read any of his mythos stuff. Sorry. What are my thoughts on XPs versus milestone leveling? From Bryson Blount. Well, what I've heard about it, I've never really looked too much into milestone leveling other than just kind of hearing a little bit of in conversations. It sounds interesting. However, I don't play games with character classes and levels. That's my choice is I just went to skill-based system, and it's just a non-issue for me. But as long as you guys have got something, you agree to it and it works for you, it's fine. I don't really think it makes as big of a difference as long as it's consistent and everybody's happy with it. But the stuff I've heard about Milestone, it sounds like a good idea. So, Alicia Tubler, hey Seth, do you plan on reviewing Pulp Cthulhu campaign, A Cold Fire Within? That is on the list of scenarios or campaigns I am willing to consider once we are done with Traveler. That right now has become our primary game that we're playing, and we just recently started a new campaign for that, going through the Rift sector. So hopefully that's going to keep us busy for several months. And then if we do decide to do Cold Fire Within, it'll require we all talk and decide what sort of game we want to play next. Obviously, it'll be some time after we've run it before I can really start reviewing it. So if you're waiting for me to review it or something before you buy it, it'll be a while if I do run it. So, and I can't even promise I will. It just depends on our mood. Dominic Fusel, I know I am mispronouncing that. Thank you for $5. Running Star on the Shore, Idol of Thoth, The Haunting is a prelude adventure. You got me into them. Thanks for the great reviews. Well, you're welcome. I'm happy you're enjoying them. This past October was the first time I have ever been to Massachusetts. We went to Massachusetts. My wife was going up there for business, and she was like, hey, why don't you buy a ticket and just come on up there with me? So we spent a few days touring along the Massachusetts area, and I did a tour of Lovecraft country. And so I started we started in Newburyport to the Historical Society, which they actually do have a historical society, and they do not have a strange crown of of dubious origin. In fact, they had no idea what I was talking about, which says a lot about Lovecraft fans that not enough of them have gone in there and asked about that crown from Innsmouth. And then we went down through Ipswich. It was horribly raining that day. And I was trying to find the bank that I had robbed in A Mother's Love. And we're kind of lost. We're going around Ipswich. We stop at a parking lot, and then we realize we're actually in the parking lot of the bank, which now looks a lot different than it did in the 20s. But I couldn't get a photograph of it because it was raining and cold. But then we tooled up the road to where Innsmouth would be. So I've got a photograph of me standing on this rainy beach where Innsmouth would probably be if it was real. But then, and the whole reason I'm telling this was we then went down to Rockport, where the Star on the Shore is set. And because we spent so much time looking at that town of Rockport, we knew our way around the town. It was freaky. Like I've got a photograph of, of course, the red barn that's over the water. But like when we were walking back to our car, we stopped by that veterans thing. I forget what they call it. I think it was pretty much like a VFW lodge before there were VFWs. It was like for the Revolutionary War. And it's like, that's where we had that huge fight in the back of that place. And, so it was really cool. So they did a wonderful job on creating that map when they did Star on the Shore. It is a lot hillier than I thought it would be, because when you look at a map, it's just kind of like flat, and you don't realize that that town does like that. But anyways, I hope you guys have fun. I'm glad you're enjoying Call of Cthulhu. Thought I heard Jack the NPC slipping out for a moment. Well, I will suppress him a bit, Adrian. I'm sorry for that. Let's see. Oh, Achtung Cthulhu, World War II. Never played it. I've seen it. Man, they got some great covers. Modiphius, I believe, does that. Modiphius, despite anything I'll ever say about any Modiphius product, man, they got good art. Their art director is great, and he hires some wonderful talent, or she hires some wonderful talent. But Modiphius has some just killer art. Let's see. Art of Ebex's Lone Wolf. Thoughts on game systems that work their theme setting into the mechanics, example Deadlands with its card drawing initiative and character creation. Those work wonderful with those systems. Right now, I'm playing in our first scenario of Alien, and it's pretty cool. I'm getting to do that as a player, and we're having all sorts of scheduling problems. So I think we started it in August. We were hoping to be done in August, and it doesn't look like we're going to be finishing it till October if we're lucky. But and it's got a really cool system that works great for Alien. And then we did Robert E. Howard's Conan, which of course is set in the world of Conan. I think a lot of those systems work great for exactly what they are, but I don't. I prefer a system that has a mechanic that you can then put into any other world. One of the reasons why, Dungeons and Dragons has been so successful is you can take the world of D&D and just throw that away and make up your own world and go from there. And it doesn't hurt anything. It's not difficult to create your own world for D&D and just play the game. And systems that really try to weave the world into the mechanics and the rules, I immediately find limiting, because I'm the type that whenever I start reading these games, I immediately start going like, man, I'd like to do this with it, but I can't. And so it works great if you want to play the exact game that they're running, but I don't see that as being something that I look for in a system. I think a great system should be a little bit more versatile, but if you want to play the game that's set exactly in the campaign world, a lot of times it works beautifully because it was designed to. Let's see. Human battering ram. Yo, can we get a Todd laugh? As should J.J. Abrams. Ooh, I guess that was about Lovecraft country. Let's see. What do we got here? Most favorite and least favorite items on the shelf behind me. Man, I'll tell you what my most favorites are, and you can't see them because they're too tiny, is there are two bronze, let me see if I can get my fingers up under, two bronze miniatures that is for two specific characters that we used for Call of Cthulhu. They were legendary epic characters, and I had the players basically build them on Hero Forge, and we had the bronze ones made. My least favorite, Oh, you cannot see it unless it's hiding in the back. There's a grenadier skeletal dragon that I did paint well, but then in the transporting over the years, its wings got broken, and I haven't bought, because then they got broken, and then the glue somehow morphed it into different spots, so it's got wings coming out of weird spots of its body. So I think that's probably my least favorite thing, because every time I look at it, I think, wow, I've been meaning to fix that for years. So that's it. What's my thoughts on Delta Green? Man, I enjoy Delta Green. Whatever little of it I have played, I had a really cool experience not too terribly long ago, where Bud from Bud's RPG Review ran a few of us through a Delta Green game, and one of the other players with us was Shane Ivey, who created the game. And Bud was understandably exceptionally nervous about running Shane Ivey through Delta Green, but he did a great job. We had a lot of fun. That is out there somewhere. I'm trying to remember the name of the. It's on a YouTube video, I believe. I know we streamed it on Twitch. Chambers of Roleplay. James Chambers runs that. So let's see. What am I currently working on beyond my YouTube videos? More books or tabletop material from Green DM. I've got a few projects that I'm working on. The problem is, most of the projects that I'm working on, I am not allowed to discuss. So yes, I do have some other scenarios that are in the works. That should be getting published hopefully in the next year. I cannot say any more about those. I am currently in discussions about doing a game system, but I cannot say any more about that. I do have one that's coming out. I think I'm allowed to talk about this one now, with the Dystopia Rising RPG. I was one of the authors that's in a anthology they did for the Kickstarter. So I think that should be out pretty soon. So there's a short story by me in there set in the Dystopia Rising universe. See if we can this. Clax, am I planning to continue playing the Conan 2D20 system again, or do I feel that I'm done with it? I'm done with Conan. I enjoyed it. My players loved it, but at the same time, we did have fun, but I never got fully comfortable with it. Also, it takes a significant amount for me to really fall in love long term with a fantasy setting. I prefer modern settings or science fiction settings, or kind of, I guess, modern going back to like the late 19th century. Essentially, basically, once guns come into play, that's more of when I'm interested than classic fantasy settings in these days. So Conan just wasn't able to just hold me as well as I had hoped it would. But we had several great adventures with it. But yeah, I think I'm done. Let's see. Ben. Just Ben will do. If you ever get to it, I'd love to see you deal with Beyond the Mountains of Madness or Eternal Lives, given those the two-head serpent treatment. Beyond the Mountains of Madness, I would love to go through sometime. What I've read of it, I love. I really do enjoy the original story from which that's based. Though I do have one player that I am pretty sure would not like that adventure. And it has to deal with, there's a lot of the bookkeeping and all that as they're trying to do the expedition. When I read about that, I was thinking, it's like, he is going to hate this. So I haven't made the investment into it to see further how much is there, just because one of the first things I know is he probably wouldn't like it. And I don't want to run it if I have a feeling that one of my players wouldn't enjoy it, because, well, that would suck for them and suck for the rest of us. Well, either the thing is not refreshed in a bit, but for some reason my live chat has not been working for the past couple minutes. So hopefully I am still streaming. Let's see. David Steele, hey man, your videos help me through rough times. Thank you. You're welcome. Glad you enjoy them. My philosophy on them is, if I can't have them be helpful, they can at least be entertaining. So I'm glad you're enjoying them. See, Alexander Manzi, what's my next Warhammer campaign diary going to be? I don't know. To do a campaign diary, it requires that we're doing more of a longer printed campaign, and we're not doing one per se right now. The current Traveler one does have one existing scenario that's going on in the background, and we're doing a lot of adventures in the meantime. We're doing an adventure called Islands in the Rift. It's more of a campaign backdrop than a module. So we're doing that one, and it will have a lot of sub adventures, and a different one at the beginning, a different one at the end. But I don't think I can do that as a campaign diary, because the campaign diaries usually accompany a review. And since this one I'll be kind of like hopping between different scenarios and all that, doesn't really work that well for it. So I don't know. It usually requires we're playing a very specific type of game for me to pull off a campaign diary. But I'm not even going to think about it until after I'm done with my my How-To Traveler series, just because I don't want to do two series at the same time again, because I did that once, and that was a lot more stressful than I was expecting it being. Let's see.